Hey guys, it's Gary again. This is a very, very important podcast for you this week because this podcast this week is going to talk about the nuts and bolts of how this thing's actually going to play out. Post August 17th, how our settlement statement is going to look, where the charge is going to be. It's going to be on the buyer side, it's going to be on the seller side. Are we having carryover items? So we're going to talk about the difference in what you're going to see when you have broker to broker comp through a Form 120, when you have concessions as a comp, when you have everybody paying their comp directly, or a combination. And I'm actually going to give you an example on the podcast of how you could have Form 120 concessions and direct comp. And so we're going to talk about how all of that's going to have to be shown on the HUD. You need to know this because moving forward, you're going to have to know how to look at the HUD to make sure that your commission is correct. We're also going to talk about all the documentation that you're going to need to get to the attorney. What do you have to give to the attorney? In 30 years of practice in law, I've never asked one time for a real estate agent to provide to me a listing agreement or a buyer representation agreement. Is that going to be the same, or are we just going to rely on Form 120s? How about the MLS? Do I have to get copies of the MLS now to prove that you didn't advertise on the multiple listing service? And then lastly, we're going to talk about fees. I think you're going to see an increase in closing costs because attorneys are going to have a lot more work as well as a lot more liability. So none of this is good for the consumer, as Catchmark continues to claim it is. It's all bad for the consumer because we're going to have raising costs. But what do I know? Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about on the podcast this week. Hope you enjoy it. Come back again for another episode, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.